the regional economic communities. And there are the task forces that you have mentioned that are going to pave the way for the continental free trade area. So are these committees in charge of the, for example, the infrastructure that's needed, the roads or some other facilities that each country needs to have? For example, if Ethiopia needs to build or construct a road to Kenya up to a certain border, these committees, are they the ones that make sure that each country is living up to their expectations and fulfilling their responsibilities to come to this continental free trade area?
Yeah, no, now we are talking about one of the bigger issue of the continent, that is infrastructural issues. At least what we do at the African Continental Free Trade Area is at least the trade aspect, and even for the trade aspect we are looking at the legal and regulatory framework issues which hinders one African country trading with another. So we are focusing more on the legal aspect, because that was identified to be one of the reasons why Africans are not trading to each other and why they are not economically also advanced as they should. So I think that will take us back, one step back, in terms of explaining the existence of CFTA or the reason for CFTA and other issues as well. Like I said, the AfCFTA will address only the legal aspect. But there are many issues this continent faces. Like you said, the infrastructure, the capital, the human capital, financial, it could be the investment, even the equality aspect, so on and so forth. So that's why I said we go one step back, then we'll have there is a decision made by heads of states and government as well. That was the boosting intra-Africa trade within the continent. That was in 2012. So one of the items it also put is to expedite the formation of the CFTA, but also side by side to address some of the constraints. Like I said, the infrastructure, the exchange of information. Even when we say infrastructure, not only road, but it could be the fast speed train networks. It could be waterways. It could be air transport, even so on and so forth. So it approaches it in such a way that African countries can trade to each other more and boost the intra-Africa trade, which is very low at this stage compared to other regions of the world. If you look at the African region, it could be somewhere between 15 to 17% of their trade is between themselves, but the rest is outside of Africa. So coming back to your question, the infrastructure aspect has its own also department structure and coordination. For example, the African Union Commission has its own infrastructure and energy department that will fully look at how to, increase the network and infrastructure aspect of the continent. When it comes to us, trade and industry, we work on those issues, CFTA being one of the major one.
Okay, let's come back to the integration aspect. Mm-hmm. It's not easy getting 55 now with Morocco, 55 countries to come together and work for the same cause. There are challenges on every step. Each country has their own opinion. For example, when you look at Nigeria was one of the founding fathers, so to speak, of this continental free trade area, but then they have backed out. And there are some concerns, the developed countries of Africa, they don't want to associate themselves with the others. So how are you going to bring them together, and how is the concept of the ideology of Pan-Africanism going to play out like it did in the colonialism era? It bring brought the African countries together to fight colonialism. Are you going to apply that to this continental free trade area, so to bring the African countries together?
Yeah, I think, at least at this stage, there are areas to be decided at political level, and there are to be decided at technical level. At least putting aside the political side, as you rightly said, bringing 55 countries and discussing about, especially when it comes to trade issues, it's always contentious. So letting them discuss and come up with one agreeable solution, it's not an easy task. It's always difficult. But again, it could be the good thing. One way or another, many of African countries are, exposed to, trading globally through World Trade Organization, or even the REX. They have given them some experience already. So we didn't start from the scratch, They have those experience. Like you said earlier, the regional economic communities gave some experience. Even the legal aspect of it was shared from their experience. So while the challenge is there, at least the positive side, they come with some experience and informed decision. They do their own consultation at national level also. So one thing I don't agree from what you said is the advanced ones would be, would find it difficult to trade with the smaller one or not advanced ones. I think it is opposite. I think they need the market for this is trade and this is investment. And if you look at it, then what you look at is looking for markets, looking for more customers, more consumers, and more places, conducive places for your investment, so on and so forth. So I guess those who are advanced, at least within Africa, those advanced will be very keen to participate in this kind of platform, such as the African Continental Free Trade Area. It will be a matter of time, but I'm sure, the African Continental Free Trade, it's not only about just also trade. I mentioned it earlier. The end game is forming the African Economic Community, meaning the whole Africa becoming as one, as union. So if you miss out at this stage, it does not mean you'll be out forever or something. I'm sure, of course, even at this stage,
you can join in at a later stage.
Exactly. It is signed by 52 countries already. Only 3 have not signed this CFTA. And of course, like you said, Nigeria is one of them. And of course, one of the biggest economy on the continent. And all we can say is they have their own national procedures to clear all these things together. And for me and for many of other people, it's a matter of time. It's a market you cannot miss out. You have to be part of it. Otherwise, I don't see any other place to compete and win some markets in this world.